Welcome to our wave letter tutorial. So we are going to be taking our bubble or block letter and adding some waves and coloring it in this way where it looks kind of like a movement of art that we're going to talk about called op art. And we're not talking about it just yet, but we'll refer back to this project when we get there. So this is a finished one. When you're working, I have this handout that you'll work along with that I got, and it takes you step by step through the directions. So it says the first, excuse me, step is to draw a block letter, erase any stray pencil marks. So I've already done that. And then it says outline the letter with the first color. We may only use one color. This one just has one color. And then draw a wavy line from edge to edge on the page. So this is kind of where I'm at. So I've drawn my letter. And I went ahead and outlined it so you could see it. I drew my letter in pencil, but I drew it really lightly. And I wanted to ensure that you could see it on the video. So I went ahead and outlined it. So that's what this step said. Outline the letter with the first color. But then it says draw a wavy line from edge to edge. So a wavy line has curves and goes up and down like the water. So I'm going to just somewhere on the paper start making a wavy line. And then I'm going to try to copy that line again and again. And I want to keep it kind of equal distance apart, so I could say, okay, I want to make it 2 fingers apart if I want, or I can just try to eyeball it. I'm going to try to draw that line again. And I'm going to try to draw that line again. If you notice that your lines are, the waves are getting smaller, try then the next one to make them bigger again. It's not going to be perfect. I'm just going to make whoop like down here. That's okay. We're doing it by hand. We don't want it to be perfect. Anyway, so there's my wave. Once you get the waves drawn on the whole thing, then we can kind of come in here and begin to color it. Okay, so that was this one. Repeat the wavy line, evenly spaced from the top to the bottom. They don't need to be perfect. That's what we just covered. On this one, it says color every other shape around the outside of the letter. So they have you color just the background first. I'm going to show you how to color the whole thing just so this video is nice and short. So I'm going to start at any random one, and I'm basically going to say, okay, well, maybe I'll start at the top one. I'm going to say I'm going to color this one in. I'm just going to mark it. I'm not going to color this one, but I'm going to color this one. Not this one, but this one. I'm going every other one, right? Okay, so those are my marks for which ones are going to be colored. But it's going to be opposite in the letter. So if I'm coloring this one, I'm actually going to stop when I get to the letter. So let's talk about craftsmanship for a second. Craftsmanship is the care you put into something. I'm not just going to do this and be like, okay, that one's colored. No, nope. I'm going to outline it carefully. And then I'm going to fill it in. And you can use little circles or back and forth. I don't care how you fill it in. I care that you have outlined the shape so it has a nice edge and that you've taken your time to color it in nicely. Okay, so I switch when I get in here. So I'm not going to color this in. Maybe it does make sense to just do the background first. I'm going to say yeah. Let's follow the directions on the paper and just do the background first. So this is part of the background because it's the inside of my R. And then I'm back to background over here. So this one's going to be colored in. It's the same, right? I have this mark here. This whole line will end up getting colored in. This line will, this line will, this line will, this line will. So yeah, I am going to say go ahead and do the background first because it will just make it easier. So let me pause this and then I can show you some in a second. Okay, so I went through and I colored the background lines, just completely ignoring every other row. So I colored this row and completely ignored this one. Colored this one in except for the letter. You got to skip the letter. We're totally ignoring the letter right now because we're only doing the background. Completely ignoring this row, this one, the whole background, except for the letter. This one, ignore it. This one, skip the letter, ignore it, skip the letter. So, I'm glad I did it that way. I'm glad I thought it through because it got a little confusing there. On this paper, at this step, it says color inside the letter next by using the opposite color as the background. Basically, we're using green and white. So if it is white in the background, once it hits the letter, it needs to turn to green. So I'm going to actually color this shape here inside the letter. And making this video during my planning, which is 4th hour, so that's one of the lunch bells. Okay, so coloring that in. So now that row is completely done. This one, with the background, I do not color the letter because it's opposite, so that one's done. This one I have background, and then I'm going to do the opposite here, so I'm going to color this shape in. So it does start to get a little bit confusing if you don't do the background first. But basically, the ones that I've already done, the rows I've already done, I've had to go back into. It's just those white rows become green once I hit the letter. So it's white because that's background again, but then I'm going to color this shape in. And again, I am going to outline the shape first to make sure I get a nice edge before I go and fill it in. Okay, I can skip this one because it is green, which makes it white inside here. But this one is white in the background, so I need to put the green in this shape. If you want to make a second color, I don't want you to do that until you already have one done with just whatever color in white. And then you can go back in if you still want to do that, and there's still plenty of time. This project takes 2 or 3 days. So it's not, probably 2, so it's really not something we spend a ton of time on, and you don't need to do that second color. It's just a good introductory project. Okay, so I think that's it. As you can see, I would fill that all in, and then I would have one more white row that I need to color in here and in here, and then my art would be done.